Then as time passed and generations had gone by, approx over 200 years, and the genetic mold affection of interbreeding had sustained, mankind began to bear physically appeasing daughters. The angels said, "Let us go now and take wives of these women, for they shall bear us a better bloodline without genetic deformations." Their children grew to be powerful beings, and when man could no longer maintain control of them, they turned on mankind and destroyed them and wreaked havoc upon the earth with their power. They made war against the animals and unbalanced the elemental flows of nature. Then they made war against each other, destroying all in their path. And I, Enoch, was given insight by the high council of the sages who served under the king of that era. It was then that a messenger of the soothsayers asked me to write a confession of a terrible deed done by the ones who sent him, so that their conscience can be cleared. I learned from a recount of the events told to me in secrecy that I shall now write down, for it was something that could not be spoken of in public. I knew, though once I learned of what had occurred, that no one shall grant them forgiveness for what they had done, and if this confession should come to light, then their punishment shall be death without remorse. And so I begin to write the account of what had transpired, and it involves the king's highest court officials and begins with the nobility of the line of heirs to the throne. Amidst the noble court was a bloodline to the king whose reputation was strong and loyal for generations to the kingdom, and had been through many a turmoil within the kingdom's history. And one of the confessors' versions said that this is the account of what transpired from what happened to me. And go forth, Enoch, for you are a representative of those who will judge us, and tell them not to judge us as with discrimination as members of the court, but as men with an open mind to a bigger picture of things that transpired. I ask, have you not ever left the courtship of the nobility and sought to find romance with those of common society? For we have found wives among the common class and have had children with them, and those children have become great leaders among the common class, and it is they who ravage the outskirts of the kingdom. It is they who are making sieges against the kingdom and challenging the rule of the king. And Earl said to me, here shall you hear of the events of their children, and their noble citizenship is allowing them to pass unchecked among the people, and how they shall lead them to follow the ones who seek to revolt and rebel against the authority of the king. And how it shall lead them to be slain under the swift hand of judgment against those who would strike in treason against their king, and it will lead to many, many deaths. And one of the king's court messengers showed me where to lead them once I discover their identity, to a place to be ambushed where they shall be judged and sentenced for their deeds, and it shall be a sentence of death which will abruptly be carried out there in the place they are led to. Then I was led to another place where representatives who are strong in their loyalty to the kingdom, and they have been given the responsibility to pass the harsh penalties and carry them out upon those found guilty. And there was a council member among them that none had ever met before, who had been appointed by the king. His association to the king was direct, and his communication was sent directly by him, and none could oppose his word, for it came straight from the king himself. And I asked, who is this man whose word cannot be questioned, who is to say that we can trust this man's intent? Then Michael, who was the kingdom's highest-ranking captain of the guard, replied, this man whom you ask of, whose authority is like that of the king himself, is his son, and his loyalty is without question, for he is his direct descendant and heir to the throne. Then I asked, what of this man who has been appointed the task of this role before him? Why can he not be trusted? And another honored guardsman, Raphael, said, this man was appointed by our forefathers and sits upon his place by their appointment of authority, but their deeds have been revealed, and his place is now to be replaced, and he is to be judged. And after that I was shown another event unfold, and before I saw a multitude of the kingdom's army standing before the throne of the king, and those legions' captains stood before the throne of the king. Their names were made known to me as they were being praised and given medals for their deeds that brought victory in the face of battle, and it was made known to me that these men of valor were those whose confessions I now write. The first one was he who always vowed loyalty to the kingdom and to the king in all he did. The second held his loyalty to the son during the uprising of the people against his appointment of authority over them. And the third was one who stepped in to defend the nobility who were innocent and falsely accused. And I heard a fourth who went down among the common class during the conflict and defended the innocent people and fought against those who sought to shame the king's name with their innocent convictions. And I asked the messenger of justice who these four were that were praised and then cast down. And he said to me, the first was Michael, who was made to be the scapegoat of these events and captain of the guard. The second was Raphael, who was set up to take the fall for people's revolts against the sun. The third was Gabriel, who was the one set up to be blamed for the convictions against the nobility. And the fourth was Uriel, who was the one set up to take the blame for the conviction against the people to sever their trust in the king and his kingdom. And after that I saw the chain of events that transpired because of this and the system of law that was set in place because of these events. And the generations that followed because of this event were secured in their place as nobles, and their system of justice drove the guilty from their lands by this process. Then I saw that there among the lineage of the son of the king was one who had memories from the distant future, and with him was a being who looked like a man, but his features were evolved and different from those around him. And I asked who was that man and the one with him. And I learned of the secrets behind the one who was to be called the Son of Man, and I was shown of all the secrets of the one who stood with him and from when he came, for he was not of that era, and why he walked with the Son of Man. The messenger spoke and told me that this is the Son of Man who will bring the teachings of this justice and righteousness to the world when justice is forgotten in the world. And this Son of Man shall break the hold that those kings have upon the world in his day, and shall undo the corruption their rule has done to the world. And the deeds of his life shall become examples from which all things that are righteous and all things that are just and wise shall base themselves upon. And he that is from the distant future shall know of his deeds and take with him to his era, so that all shall learn from the ways of the Son of Man. Now from this point I no longer am translating much, for it seems to directly be speaking to me, and he who is the morning star, bearer of the first dawn in creation, shall be brought his teachings and ways, and his name shall be known to him who came before all else was made. He shall be a light to those who live righteous, so that he shall not fall, and bring hope to those who have none, and all in the world shall praise his name and sing songs of his life, and shall call him the righteous one among the outcasts. And for this reason he was hidden from him who came before the creation of the world, Lucifer. And for this he has revealed himself through him to the world, and because of him the righteous were saved, because of they who have hated and despised him and all his works in the ways of the Lord. For in his name they are saved. And for this he shall show them compassion, for his compassion is great, as too is his righteousness in his judgment. And in those days the earth shall give back what it has been entrusted, for it shall give back that which it has received, as too shall hell give back that which it owes. For the appointed Son shall arise from among them, and he shall choose the righteous and the holy from among them, for the day has drawn nigh that they too shall be saved. And in those days the appointed Son shall sit upon my throne, and all the secrets of wisdom shall pour forth from his mouth, and so too all the counsel that the spirits have given him, and his name shall be exalted from every mountain to every ocean to every bird, all shall give praise to him.